Welcome to That Guy's a Maniac, the podcast. We are a podcast about video games. My name is Richie. With me as always is Farley. Say hello, Farley.
Hello.
We are available on www.thatguys.co.uk. You can also catch us on our socials at That Guy's Maniac, all one word, all lowercase. This is season 3. We have a thing where we talk about we don't talk about each other. We give each other a quote and the other person has to guess.
Yes.
So Farley, are you ready for this one?
Yes, and to clarify, the quote is from a video game.
Yes, exactly, thank you. Well, we are a podcast about video games.
It's true.
Anything else would just be weird. Okay, right, you ready?
Yeah.
If you guys see Candy on your way out, tell her I'll give her surfing lessons anytime.
If you guys see Candy on the way out. My instant thoughts are, is this GTA?
No.
Because there's that voluptuous lady, Candy something, right?
I have no idea. Candy in GTA?
Yeah, she's one of the loading screens. It's and you kind of get into all kinds of trouble because you're supposed to drive her about the town for some kind of mob leader, and she keeps dragging you into all kinds of trouble.
Okay.
Candy
sucks.
Candy sucks. There we go.
Wow.
Even my dirtiest thoughts weren't going to go. Yeah, quite.
Yes. Yeah. So it's original
Candy corn, candy pop. No, Candy sucks.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Cool. Yep. No, it's not GTA.
Not GTA. If you see Candy on the way out, surfing lessons. Games with surfing in.
Or surfers. And people called Candy.
Pokemon Yellow.
No.
Pikachu surfing game.
No.
SSX.
Nope.
I think the last 3 quotes you give me, I've guessed SSX.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good one. One day I'll remember to use SSX Tricky as the...
Yeah. I can see my house from here.
So...
Alsfrug. Okay, no. I don't know. Give me a clue or just tell me.
So just so you're clear, Farley, I choose my quotes based on something I know you've played before.
Right, whereas I choose my quotes on games that I know you've never touched.
Yeah. So like the tally of who's got ones right and who's got ones wrong is entirely skewed.
Is it Trauma Center Second Opinion?
No, it's not. But Farley, you have played games
correct,
that feature characters called Candy, or a character called Candy.
Excuse me, is it Donkey Kong?
Yes, it is.
'Cause it's really weird. I was going to say, when you initially said that, for some reason my mind instantly went to Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, wow.
Funny answer. It was a Crash Bandicoot because of the female character there, but she's not called Candy. And yeah, of course, there's the sexy monkey, but I guess if you see Candy on the way out.
Yeah, so Funky Kong says it.
Funky Kong says it. So is it Donkey Kong Country?
Just Donkey Kong Country.
The original Donkey Kong Country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Were you happy to see Funky Kong is in the Mario movie?
I see a lot of hate for this Mario movie, and I've just decided I'll watch it when it comes out. I'm done with trailers. I'm not hyped by it in any fashion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm rather than get on the hate train, rather than the hype train, I'm just letting it be. I will watch it Nobody's going to stop me watching it. I might not see it in the cinema. In fact, I guaranteed I won't see it in the cinema. I will happily watch it on Disney?
No, it's the guys who made Minions.
Okay, maybe Amazon or Netflix or...
Amazon or Netflix, yeah, or because it's Nintendo, some strange streaming service nobody's ever...
Oh my god, yes.
Pop TV.
yeah, great. Anyway, I will watch it at some point on a streaming service, and I think I'll enjoy it.
I'm quite excited by it, particularly because they've given us little hints of the music, and there's like a remix of one of the many Mario themes. And the last trailer, there's at some point it might just be we've seen the entirety of it. There's some Mario karting. Yeah, I could go for a cinematic, thing where I could say, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I don't know if it's cinema worthy.
Nah, difficult to say, isn't it?
Feels like it's the sort of thing you might want to pause occasionally,
Well, then...
Oh, wait a minute, I don't get this reference. Oh, right, it's from Mario 2.
Are there movies... Because it used to be a thing that it's definitely worth seeing at the cinema. But is that a thing anymore?
I would say a cinematic experience, like a Marvel film, or like a big action film, or some kind of blockbuster, usually is worth seeing at the cinema.
But recently, there was a huge chatter about this recently, about mixing sound for films. Did you see this?
No, tell me.
So lots of people.
We're a video games podcast, by the way. Video games podcast.
Lots of people over. We're talking about the Mario movie. A period of time, like, does anyone find it really difficult to hear films? So either hear the talking, or there's something wrong with the mixing. So the score is blowing out the speakers, or certain sounds aren't being made, and then a bunch of, I can't remember who wrote it up. This is so typically 2022, isn't it? Someone somewhere wrote something. That's my authority. But they were looking into it and kind of saying, well, that's modern film production these days. You just don't really take care about how these things slot together, and it's all done by various different industries, and it really, really depends on how the cinemas are set up. Because recently, and that for me, that was one of the key things about going to see something at the cinema, was because the sound and the visuals, that's the difference between sitting at home, right? Unless you have a super amazing home cinema setup. And I feel like gap's closing. There's very little, there's very few things that I think, I have to go to the cinema to see that. Whereas in the past, it was, if it is a big cinematic thing, and when 3D films, remember those? When they came out?
God. Well, I mean, we've got Avatar coming back in just a few days. That was like the first 3D film.
Yeah.
23 years ago or whatever it was.
And then, you just end up with these stupid scenes that look awful when you're watching it on
awful
home TV. Like, oh, what's this? Oh, this is the 3D bit where something.
Yeah, where you're
sort
of going through a water flume or something like that. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. And oh god, like the 3D was shite. You were just stuck wearing these glasses through the entire film, which made it a little bit blurry. And then you got to the 3D bit and you're like, oh, okay. Not necessary. I can imagine what things are in 3D, But yeah, but with sound, like, I don't have the greatest hearing in the world, so it's a bit of a miss for me. Like I've genuinely gone to showings of like Love and Thunder with subs on, because it's just easier. Easier. Read the subs and go on.
I think you're one of the victims of I just thought I was getting older. No, it's because sound mixing's so shit that it's genuinely hard in some films to follow what the characters are saying. There was one, I think it was Dunkirk, and I just couldn't. It felt like everybody was mumbling.
Yeah.
I don't know know what's going on here. Yeah, there we go.
But you like The Wire, and The Wire is the worst for that.
What?
The Wire is just this film of people saying things really quickly and quite low, with this Chicago wind sort of blowing over them. So you're just like, whoosh, and then and then you're like, am I supposed to get some nuance from this that he doesn't like that guy? Well, he does seem quite angry. Yeah, The Wire.
The other one I struggled with is Peaky Blinders. I just couldn't, honestly.
Yeah,
follow.
I mean that is supposed to be some crazy proto language, but yeah.
But it wasn't the language. It wasn't the language. I can't hear the. I can't hear the words. Anyway.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's an industrial problem, not the fact that we're just getting older and decrepit. But video games. So yeah, Mario movie. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'll go to the cinema. I don't know. Hopefully, the soundtrack will be good.
That's your wish list. This is our New Year's episode. So your New Year's resolution is, well, it's not even a resolution. Your New Year's wish and hope is the Mario movie is good enough or has a good soundtrack. Well, I think it's a good goal. I'm going to say April. Okay.
All right, we've got a while.
Yep, we do. And
until then,
yeah,
maybe we played some video games.
Well, some of us did. I'm going to say
did.
I did.
I played 2 with you, at least, since we recorded that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Shall I kick us off with our staple feature? What are you playing?
Do it properly. Do the accent. Go on.
What are you playing?
I love it. Good. Great.
This feature, readers, is where we talk about some video games we have recently been playing. Good, bad, ugly, impressions, thoughts, discussions.
Yes. So, were you asking me what am I playing?
I was asking you if I should start.
I think you should start, yes.
Okay, I mentioned this in a previous or potentially future podcast. I think it was the one that just came out. On a weakness, I think it was the winter sale, the early winter sale. Early, middle, and late winter sale.
It was the Black Friday coincidental sale.
No, it wasn't. It was before that.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think it was like early winter sale. Anyway, I was looking on the PlayStation store, and I'd just come off of. I was still hadn't quite finished Andor.
Okay.
Which just drops me into a huge Star Wars hole, into the point where I've picked up. It's here on the desk. What are they calling it? You know, like all the old Star Wars stuff, Legends, Essential Legends collection. I've picked up some like actual Star Wars books to read. I'm reading Rogue Squadron, which is excellent, but it's all different canons. That's why it's under this Legends title.
Okay.
So after the second Death Star, there's a whole thing with these dinosaurs. So they mentioned these dinosaurs, but obviously that didn't happen in the real canon. Anyway,
no.
So I just really had a hankering for some Star Wars, so I went back to Star Wars
Battlefront? Squadrons, okay.
First, because I bought that a while ago and didn't get around to finishing it, because I think I said this when I initially reviewed it. Yeah, Star Wars Squadrons. It's a space shooting game.
Oh, yeah, it was free on Epic. I got it the other day there.
Ah, give it a spin, see what you think.
Okay.
Because it's an excellent kind of space shooting game, but I think it's one that really flourishes in VR.
Okay.
Or made for VR. So if you're not playing in VR, it feels a bit slow.
Okay.
And just wasn't huge. Anyway, so I finished that, and that's fine. weaves a really nice story about, you can flip between a bunch of X-wing pilots and a bunch of TIE fighters.
Do you get your own R units to have in your ship?
No, not really. They're just on the ship and running about. But so it's like in between missions, you'll be on the whatever.
A base of some sort, yeah.
Star Destroyer, yeah. But it will just be your first-person viewpoint, and you get to look around the hangar, and then you click on a character, and then you have a discussion with a hyper-realistic-looking person who then wanders off. You do a mission briefing, then you kind of get in your ship and fly. Anyway, that was fine. And I thought I want more Star Wars, so it was during the sale, and I think it was £8, which is reasonable.
That is not just reasonable, that is cheap.
Oh, it's like the price of a fucking pint these days. So
yeah, exactly.
It'll last you 30 more hours. So yeah, I loved the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2. So I thought, yeah, I could go in for some Battlefront. I completely missed the fact that there are now 2 new Battlefronts. So I got Battlefront 2, skipping Battlefront 1. And yeah, it's good stuff. I think as I whinged about last time, it's an EA game, so it's all oriented towards online play. So half your trophies and all your unlocks. Yeah. And there's it got some criticism for loot box system because it has this loot box system which you earn.
Oh god.
Credits for through online play. So I don't have a PlayStation Plus account, so I didn't do any of this. But like I think some fairly serious progression bits are hidden in loot boxes which people didn't like.
Yeah.
So you can play versus the computer, and that's fine. It doesn't lock all your characters and weapons. It just means you can't use those online. And there's quite a nice story mode, which I really enjoyed. I think it's a really good way of teaching you the game, and that's what it's meant for. So you kind of change characters and get given different weapons. But it covers, more importantly, it covers the bit between the end of the Empire and then the beginning of the First Order.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Which is something that I'm really interested in because I felt like the films, I don't know if they kind of deliberately left things vague.
Yeah, in the hope that they would do another trilogy in between.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking, in that they'll fill it in with series and films because, yeah, you go from the Empire to... we did Stormtroopers again, but it's not quite everybody, and slightly change the uniforms, slightly change the vehicles. And
there's a big, tall, silver female one as well.
Yes, and then there's a guy with the half a face, which they didn't really kind of explain. So it didn't really explain a huge... there were little nods to that, so they kind of explained that, of course, the Empire just didn't just disappear when the Emperor did, but essentially the people left in the Empire split into...
Yeah, but spoiler, the Emperor never left. Spoiler!
God, yeah. He was hiding on that planet with 400 secret Star Destroyers that nobody knew.
And 300 versions of himself. In a box that was floating a metre off the ground.
So weird. So don't. But basically the Empire split, and there was like a really hardcore faction which essentially went on to form the First Order. So you play as I don't want to spoil the story, so I won't. You play as some characters, and you see through kind of the end of the Empire, and then there's a bit of a time skip, and then you're tying things up when the First Order, etc.
Cool.
Running around, and there's of course fucking Star Wars. You end up crossing over with Leia and Luke and all the unlockable characters.
So
all the special characters.
In other Star Wars games, specifically I'm thinking of like Rogue Squadron on the N64. You always got a cool, fun cheat where you could play as like a Naboo Star Destroyer or a car, a floating car, or the Millennium Falcon. You get that in there as well. Any cool cheaty unlocks and squadrons?
No. It's quite. Sorry, this is in Battlefront 2. You mean?
All right, were you talking Battlefront 2?
Yeah.
I thought Squadrons was the in between bit of
No. Sorry, I'd finished Squadrons, and then I was still hankering for Star Wars. Which picked
Ah,
up
right.
Battlefront 2
Apologies. Okay, cool.
and played through the story mode. So no, there isn't. It's quite po-faced.
Po-faced.
Yeah, I know.
You made the pun.
And you can kind of unlock different skins for different troopers.
You seem so ashamed of it.
Yeah, that's not really not what I was going for. No, I didn't find anything fun at all in that way.
Okay.
It's very straightforward.
Okay.
But it looks. I think gamers of our vintage occasionally you have those pinch yourself moments. So there's an early level where you're on Endor, whilst the Death Star's being attacked.
All right, so you've got the AT-ATs or the ATSTs and the Wookiee
and
Ewoks and stuff like that.
Forest and the Ewok, and it just looks fucking amazing. You know, it's
Brilliant, yeah.
my younger version of myself would be in awe of just how this looks, and feels, and sounds, and the fact that it's all in engine. So yeah, it looks good. It takes you to many of your favourite locales, such as Yavin 4 and all those other ones we've been to in various different games.
Cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Blitzed through it. Occasionally, if I really feel the need, I'll go and play against what has like a few different missions, which teaches you, is how the Jedi's work, is how the other things work. Well, gives you a challenge mode to destroy as many battle droids as you can in 5 minutes. And then that's really the really nice thing about it is the like key artwork for it in the menu screen is just loads of different helmets.
Yeah.
But you can play in any of the 3 different settings of the trilogies. So if you love prequels, you can play as all the clone troopers, and they've got like every single niche squadron and unit or platoon from the Clone Wars era.
Do they have a Gungan trip?
No, because they're all troopers, right?
Oh, right. Okay.
But if your favourite is the 502nd
I really don't have a favourite stormtrooper.
thingy, then you can play that. And then
Snowtroopers. Although
Yeah.
they're a bit Ku Klux Klan-y, aren't they?
they are, yeah. But you've got the First Order Snowtroopers, which are a bit cooler, and then you've got the classic
Oh, okay, cool.
Snowtroopers. So yeah, you can play as whatever it is, the clones versus the Sith, isn't it?
The Sith?
CIS? Yeah. Sith.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's the name. I mean, that was the original. That was the original Sith.
Yeah.
They started using it for other things. Or Rebels versus Empire, or the other one, Rebellion versus
First Order?
First Order.
Yeah, the Rebellion. Yeah. Cool.
It's good. It's good stuff. Yeah. I just really do wish it was. I know it's kind of stupid, but I do wish it was more geared. It wasn't just geared towards playing online. The weird thing, and maybe I just haven't explored it enough, is that there are options to put vehicles in, but I rarely saw any vehicles. Whereas my memories of certainly the original Battlefront 2 was that it was kind of vehicles were a really, really big thing.
Okay.
It wasn't really like a mechanic class. I didn't see many vehicles, but it might be that the CPU, grabbed 1 or 2 X-Wings and then just spent the entire game just circling in the air meaninglessly.
Yeah. I mean, there is that. Yeah.
I mean, that is what the Kapoo is famous for. So there we go.
Cool.
7 out of 10.
Okay. 7 what's out of 10? Come on. You've got your Star Wars references.
7 legions out of 512 clone trooper dark squadron
Okay. Cool.
How about you? What are you playing?
Let's do what we've been playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are we playing?
We played, as a tradition it has now become, every year there is a new Jackbox game.
Also, weirdly, we seem to hang out the weekend it comes out.
Well, usually it comes out like the weekend just after my birthday.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys will come over or vice versa, or we will do something just before Christmas, which is what happened this year. So yeah, it's quite similar. There was a little bit of a mix on how we did it, because we played it on the Steam Deck, which is quite cool.
What did we play?
We played Jackbox 9.
And it wasn't very good.
No. I mean, it was fine. It was more Jackbox. Weirdly, it has got quite high accolades as a Jackbox game.
Okay. So, maybe people don't know. If you don't know, give us Jackbox in a sentence.
Jackbox is a bunch of games that you play on your TV with your phone. So everybody in the room can do a sort of couch co-op in the privacy of using their own phone to answer questions or set challenges or do something like that, whilst the TV displays quiz questions or prompts and things like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid. That's a good explanation of what Jackbox is, right?
Yeah, and within that format you can have hundreds of people joining in, but I think it's normally like 8, 12, 10.
Oh, you can have thousands of people watching.
Yeah,
as well.
In audience mode. Sorry, I'm still recovering from being ill. And they have, over the 9 previous games, really played around with how can you make that concept fun.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, well, they end up becoming a little bit self-referential as well, because a lot of these ways that they have sort of played around with that format becomes quite similar. And I think specifically in this latest iteration, we saw, this is just a reskin of X game. And yeah, so bunch of new games. Let's just run through them, shall we?
Yeah. So
Fibbage 4
is one of the flagship Jackbox games, and the premise is really good. It's you're given a question you don't know the answer to, and the idea is that you're supposed to come up with an answer that's convincing enough to fool everybody else, and then you have to guess on the answers that everybody's put in with the real answer there. So yeah, it's a really good premise because it's really easy to kind of fool other people with answers. Fun.
Especially if you know the other people in the room, and you know the kind of things that they think they know as well. You can really sort of lure them into little traps. Yeah, and it is fun. It's basically that one moment where everyone else in the room clicks on your answer, your fake answer, and that is the endorphin in that one.
And then you get to see who voted for your answer and who came up with the fake answer. You go, hey, and it's perfect for that. In-person ribbing of each other for, you got that wrong. That's a really good answer.
Does it need 4 versions though? Oh.
No, but well, I was going to save this till the end of this discussion, perhaps. But obviously it's working for them. I think, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I normally hate games as a service, Jackbox would benefit if they just kept adding games to, Jackbox, the portal, instead of releasing, what are we on now, 9?
9, yeah.
9 games with that.
9 years this has been going.
9 games with 4 or 5. I think it does vary, or 5 or 6 games per thing. Some of which are really good. Yeah, I think they should just all be, they should just add different games to the same thing rather than. I mean, I guess they can't, because each game does have really high production values. There's loads of.
Yes.
It's if you're envisaging something like the Buzz games in your mind. No, it's far more interactive than that. There's animations, there's quips, there's like context-sensitive stuff that triggers. So half the time you are kind of like not laughing out loud, but chortling along with the silly bit.
High production value is a really, really good way to sort of put that. Yeah, it is really, really well done, and even the sort of like the interaction, like because you're basically playing a game that you have to play through the internet on your phone.
Yeah.
Next to your TV, it's actually quite flawless. There hasn't been too many issues other than like somebody forgets to charge their phone, or somebody starts doing their Duolingo in the middle of
But yeah, now we've got like 9 different packages of these games, and some of the games are not very good. Some of the games
but there's
really
ones that we revisit that we love,
But I think it would be easier if that was all just under one portal rather than. I mean, it's trivial to pop in and out of the different versions. So what are some of the other Jackbox 9 games? You're gonna have to remind me.
So the next one was Roomerang. So this was a game that is sort of billed like a reality TV show, like Big Brother, but also very, very similar to like your reality top models, drag things like that, or making the cut. And it wasn't explained very well. It took us a long time to realise, oh, wait a minute, we're supposed to be in a reality show. It just wasn't clear, or at least it wasn't to me, what we were doing. And again, there was some kind of a competition which involved us trying to roleplay a character trait, which we never did. None of us actually went into that trap. And we were just left sort of getting voted off based on an answer to a thing. This is really badly explained, but yeah.
Essentially, it's like a reality TV show. Each round, you have some task to do. But I think it's one of the weaker games in this compilation because it's really just up to how you interact with the other players rather than answering questions and getting knocked out or getting places. And so, particularly if there's a small group, there's only 4 of us. Just very quickly.
And if there's one person who's picked on all the time, they're gonna go
So I didn't really rate that game at all because there wasn't really a game to it.
No. Yeah, there wasn't a game to it, and I think like the role play aspect, I think, was the important thing, but none of us were in it or even really following what was going on.
No,
I think it was very poorly introduced in that fashion. Yeah.
So let's I think one of the worst game on this particular compilation. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Junktopia. So, Junktopia.
Junktopia was good in the end. I think it was good.
Junktopia is a remix of one of our favourite games.
Yeah, patently stupid.
Patently stupid. The concept behind Patently Stupid is you have like 30 seconds to, on the back of a napkin, make up a product and then try and sell it to the other people in the room.
Yeah. So everyone comes up with a bunch of prompts, then they mix those prompts together, and then you get to choose between one or two of them, and then you have to invent a product.
Yes.
And then essentially, it's very clever. You do a drawing, and then I think you write like 2 phrases, and then you have to do if you play in whatever is presenting mode, which you absolutely should do. you then have to present your invention to your colleagues. So it does involve, is like a bit public speaking, which perhaps some people won't like. But yeah, it's fun. We've that's the one we've.
Yeah, it's the hump you get over after a couple of proseccos.
Yeah. It's the one we've had the most giggles.
Yeah.
Giggles over, definitely.
I would say belly laughs have definitely happened during this one. Yeah.
Really fun. And then this one, what's it called?
Junktopia. So
Junktopia.
they add a little bit of a different background to it. So you've been turned into a frog, which is inconsequential. But in order for you to be turned back into a human being, you have to visit an antiques store. And in the antique store, they have various crazy objects. And you have to try and get a markup on those antiques. In fact, it's a mishmash of Patently Stupid. And there's another one which is like where you have to get paintings appraised. Yeah. That one's quite good as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like that. But basically, what you end up eventually having to do is present some hideous, like, disgusting clown doll, which has got like half of its face removed, and you have to say how it is special in whatever way that you've decided to do it, and sell that to the rest of the people on you're playing with. And yeah, I mean, that was fine. My only issue with that was I would have rather been playing Patently Stupid. If for only one reason, the theme tune was 10 times better.
Patently Stupid doesn't really catch theme tune. Yeah, that's okay.
We then had non-sensory. So this was the 3D monkey that looked like sort of crazy frog time graphics. Do you remember this?
I do.
And you had to do a sort of drawing with a writing, and then you had to do a drawing that fit on a scale. So you were given something that was half something or half something. So like Charlie or King Charles, and you had to say that it was 90% Charlie and 10% King Charles, and everyone then had to vote on a gauge like 9 out of 10 that it was 9 out of 10 Charlie. It was hard, and it wasn't fun. No. I mean, I didn't particularly like it. I was happy to never play it again.
Yes. Some concept worked better than others. Between the extremes that you were given. So one was like Karen or Kraken, which is quite a fun one.
Yes, you got a good one. Yeah, like I got the Charlie and the King Charles one. I was just like, so I just basically did a tiny drawing of a king with big ears, and then another person snorting coke. Yeah.
Like what was it, 70% Charlie or 80% Charlie or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
not the best.
I mean, yeah. It's hard to do. The way you approached it with the Karen Kraken with the hair and things like that, I think that was quite cool. But yeah. And the last one, we also hated.
It's not a good selection.
It was Quicksort.
And it's not quick at all.
Not quick at all, no. You get put into teams of 2, and you have to drop in a Tetris style blocks into the order of something. So that order might be, when were these films released?
Yeah.
Or rather abstractly, who's the strongest in the Marvel universe?
Yeah.
Which I feel like they gave us a definite answer. I can already hear, the nerds going, hurry, not the strongest.
An amazing Fantastic Four episode. issue 45, the thing actually beat up Thor, so that's not correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the premise is okay, but it just takes way too long.
Yeah, and so you
to
actually
drop
get different
blocks.
rounds as well. So you can drop it, and then they'll start. All right, you got these 3 right. We'll stack these up. Now get the other ones right. And you're like, oh. But you're just basically watching the other people do it.
Mm.
It doesn't really feel fair to help them.
No,
So
and again, maybe
Yeah.
some of these would be slightly better if there's more of you, and people are shouting what they think. Yeah, not the best compilation.
no. But yeah, we played Jackbox. I will give it. I'll give it 6 Jackbox Party Pack 6s out of 9 Jackbox. Out of Charlie, yeah, out of Charlie, yeah. But that being said, it killed a few hours. We did laugh, and we had fun. But it definitely is a one-off. As a service, I think you're right. It would be much better as a service, and that I wasn't just buying this every single year, because I think we felt quite similarly about last year.
Yeah, they've been on a bit of a downward trend, whereas in previously when we played them,
We were looking forward to. We're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and they'd be like, here's this one we have to come up with, rat battles between robots. That's kind of cool.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
But for the last 2, I think there have been
Yeah,
many standouts.
Yeah, it's like we should just have a Jackbox party rather than play the new one. Yeah. Just play the 3 that we like. Again, it might just be a matter of taste, as well.
Yeah, and again, if you've got a whole living room full of people, maybe experiences do vary.
And we even did a COVID one of it as well. We did the drawful.
I'm sure.
Because they gave it away for free. Because COVID happened, Jackbox was like, all right, well, why don't you play this game for free? Which is quite cool of them. I mean, obviously. And just buy all of our other games as well.
Out of interest, how much does it cost new? I asked you this last time.
I think it's about 20 quid.
Okay, well, that's fine.
That's gonna be next year. I will spend 200 quid on Jackboxes.
Yeah, but think how many hours we've got.
I know. It's not. I don't resent it in any fashion. It's just like they are so good to have, and they're so handy to have, and they're not just on PC. They're on Switch as well. You know.
And if you do have some non-gamers over, they're really easy to get into. Everyone has a phone with them, so it saves that horrible faff of finding the multi-tap, finding all the controllers, explaining to the one person who has no idea that here's how 3D cameras.
You see this person holding the controller upside down, and you're just like, oh god, this is not a good start.
I'm gonna have the best time doing this. Great.
Yeah, so we played that, and we've scored it. So Farley, what have you been playing?
So a while ago now, I don't know why it was. This strikes me as the kind of thing that you literally never interact with. When you turn on your Switch, there's the Switch News channel, I guess, at the bottom.
I have it on the left-hand side.
Yeah, it's one of the selections. You've got Nintendo Switch Online, which is where all the medals and stuff are, and then next to that is news. So very often it will have notifications. And it's a pseudo social media platform where you can follow different games that you're interested in by following them, adding them to your feed, although it seems like a really half-baked idea. Some games just don't have a channel. Many Nintendo games don't have their own channel. Anyway, so whenever you log in, there's two little things down the bottom left. Often they'll have a little notification system on. So I follow quite a few different games that I'm interested in, but perhaps don't want to buy, or series that I'm interested in to see what's going on. And one day I logged in and I saw that there was a announcement of a game called Mythic Ocean with a video.
Okay. Is this a sequel to Endless Ocean?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And I think if there's a video, I mean, there's probably studies into this. If there's a video, I'll kind of watch it. But sometimes if there isn't a video, then obviously I won't, because it's just really strange to be reading text about a video game you might have no idea about. Decide whether you want to find out more or not. And then this Mythic Ocean, I think it was released on something else, and then the Switch has just got this complete version or extra version of it. So I watched the video and I thought, you know what? That doesn't look too expensive, but it kind of looks cool. And it wasn't that expensive. I think it was pounds, handful of pounds.
A handful of pounds.
A handful of pounds. And it was even cheaper with the gold, my Nintendo Gold points, which accrue when you're buying stuff.
Yeah.
So Mythic Ocean is essentially a visual novel, but it has like different discrete areas which are 3D, and it's about a mythic ocean, and you have to work out what's going on. But I haven't played a huge amount of it. I think I'm like 3 out of 5 characters into it. But you kind of get the feeling that it's like a myth or like a pantheon of gods that occasionally resets existence. And then these gods reappear, all based on different ocean things.
Is it sort of got an Atlantis quality or something like that?
Yeah, so very... so one of the gods you meet is like a sea pig type thing.
Okay.
Very, very strange, perpetually hungry creature, which you kind of chat with, and it's interesting food. Then there's a pair of twins who are very childish and childlike, and then there's a very hedonistic otter who lives in like a really vibrant part of the ocean. So as you meet these characters and talk to them, then they start to refer to the other characters. So the twins love to play with the otter, but then sometimes he's really mean, and so you go and talk to the otter about the twins. The little sea pig thing's very hungry, and so you have to go and find some food. So I don't think it's particularly complex, although in the trailer it did kind of, at some point you do get to see all the branches and decisions that you could potentially have got when you do a single playthrough. But just the characters are really nicely crafted, the dialogue and the interactions that you have with them is really engaging. In each of the areas that you go to, there are kind of files to be found by hunting out.
So how does because you said it was a visual novel, is sort of like 3D walkabouty stuff?
Yes, so as far as I've played it, there's like a central hub area initially where you meet this very mysterious character who kind of very cryptically explains something, and then you go to the first area, you swim around, and it is like a 3D area. It's not particularly complex. There's a few like nooks and crannies here and hidden things here, but it's not vastly complex. And then you'll stumble upon one of these what appear to be gods, and then have a conversation with them, which will then trigger either another area opening up or refer to another character. And then you go to all these different connected areas, and then you meet the other characters. So I think I've met 3 out of the 5. I think there are 5 characters, because in the central hub there's 5 tablets surrounding a circle, and 3 of them are now lit up.
Okay. So you know how far you are through the game.
Yeah, or it's certainly how many characters you've got to meet. But it does seem like there's quite a bit of complexity in from what I saw in the trailer of like the tree of options. There's quite a bit of complexity in how it plays out, because at various points they do give you a shall I do this or this option to suggest to them, and I think depending on what you choose, you close off a line of the story, or you fall out of favour with them, or
it sounds very familiar to Scarlet and Violet, where you you do the quest lines that you need to do.
But it's just, I mean, it's not doing anything particularly special. I think this format, it's just really what it does do. It's really nicely done. Like I say, the characters are really engaging. Kind of really invested in where these stories go, whether you can resolve some of these relationships between them. One of the ones which I've not spoken to yet, it looks like, and I always love this. Do you remember, were you a big Babylon 5 fan?
Nope.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to be.
Yeah. So
there was a few sci-fi series going on at that point, and obviously I was more Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, and things like that. And I would see Babylon 5, and there would be the man with the receding hairline, and then there'd be the woman with the ears covered up, and then she got hair. And then there was captains that got replaced, but by the same generic white man.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I remember about Babylon 5.
The thing I loved most about Babylon 5, wasn't huge, couldn't really recall any of it now. Was that they did non-humanoid aliens really well. So I don't know if you remember one of the.
Yeah, there was a cupboard. There was a cupboard with a red dot, wasn't there?
There was this guy who had to live on in a special gas room, and you never, or as far as I saw, it never revealed its true self.
He was somehow, or she was somehow involved in Daylin. Ah, there we go. I remember her name. The one getting hair. She got hair. I think she became part human, and he did something. Yeah.
Anyway, what I really liked about that was you'd have aliens which had something else going on rather than just being like a green one with tits or a blue one with tits.
Well, no, I agree with you, but the winner for me, hands down, for non-humanoid aliens is definitely Farscape.
Alright, I have no resonance with Farscape. Anyway.
Wow, okay.
This is what drew me to this game, is that not all the characters got doing something different. They're a kind of ever hungry arthropod type thing, or a very playful otter, or these like mean twins, and then one of the other ones appears to be some kind of huge malignant titan type thing. So yeah, fun.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a very story-rich world.
Yeah,
that you can be part of, which is great.
Yeah, and not a game. I don't think you saw recently.
Can you die in it?
Yeah, well, I don't think you can. I've seen them recently being called cozy games.
Yeah.
I don't really know where that term has come from, but yeah, it's definitely one of those. If I don't fancy holding two sticks at once, I can just play Mythic Ocean.
It's like, oh gosh, you know the name of the games company, the ones that made that Monsters Everywhere.
Level 5.
Those were just great cozy games.
Yeah.
Like, you could enjoy what you were doing. Nothing took too long.
Yes.
And it was, comfortable. There was no fear, no suspense, no constant worrying that Nemesis was going to break down the door or something like that.
No picking something up and saying, you've got one of 999 of these, and there's 7 different things.
Okay. Now you need to make a choice. Oh shit, now I need to check on game FAQs what choice I need to make.
Yeah, I need to make a good choice in the first playthrough, and
then
yeah, nice gentle game that I'm sure I'll go back to over the holidays to polish off. So Mythic Ocean, and probably a very rare statistic in that I was just completely swayed on that weird Nintendo kind of social feed, which I'm sure the vast majority of people don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I give it 4...
Daylins?
4 amnesiac deities out of 5.
Okay. Amnesiac deities. Okay, cool. Right.
What are you playing?
Ugh. So, when we were talking about games that we've been playing, I don't want to go into too much depth, but I've been playing 2 games, Farley.
Yeah.
What are those 2 games?
World of Warcraft?
Yeah, and?
Pokemon Scarlet. Pokemon
Yes.
Violet.
Pokemon Scarlet, yeah. So I've got 2 games. I could talk to you about World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Do you remember where we left it off last time?
We're in the same point as the cycle we've been in many times. In that you kicked off the guys who weren't hardcore enough on the guild. and you promised to delete your paladin, still haven't.
I never promised to delete my paladin.
Everyone was gearing up for the next thing.
Everybody was gearing up for the next thing. So the next big thing, I think, was Wrath of the Lich King. Which is now out and it's in full force. It's in phase 1 and it is due to be in phase 2. Well, we haven't got a concrete date, but it's guaranteed, well, pretty much we believe it's going to be right after Christmas. So sort of January the 4th or something like that, just after what's it called? Christmas holidays and the first reset sort of thing. Again, I might be wrong. It might end up being February, but I don't think so. So we've been doing phase 1, and phase 1 is a fun point in the game because basically it's all new content. So you get like I think 16 new dungeons that you can run through. So like, yay, run through all the dungeons. You've got new reputation grinds that you can run through. Yay, get through all of them. And then you can get all of the items from each one of those dungeons, which are actually restricted in that you can only do them once per day. And also you've got brand new zones as well to run through. That being said, most people were done within a week.
Wow.
So repeatedly running through all of those dungeons, getting pretty much all of the gear that they needed beforehand, and also like getting their character reputations to full. It was a very, very quick process. So quick, in fact, I'm now maining a Death Knight. I've done my Death Knight, got to 80, got full reputations. I've leveled my Warlock to 80 because I can get lots of gold by doing that again. I've leveled my Paladin to 80. It's been so...
Sorry.
Yeah, fine. It's been so straightforward and so quick to do that it's almost cheapened the experience. I know this is like, it's quality of life, all this sort of stuff.
Well, this is what I was going to ask. Would you prefer them to just artificially, make those drops rarer, make the grind harder?
I think, no. You don't, like, they've made the dungeons more accessible. Doing a dungeon used to be like, okay, this is going to take maybe a good half an hour to an hour out of your time, because one, you're all going to have to go there. You didn't have the summoning stones initially, and like there was this level of getting a group together. They've added a dungeon finder in, so you click, I want to do this dungeon as this role, and within maybe a few minutes you're there. You can then fly to that dungeon pretty quickly. I think the furthest one is 5 minutes away. And even then there will be people who have got teleports to get there. And you'll do the dungeon. If you are if you've got competent people, you'll get it done in 15 minutes. You won't die, and at the end of it, you get currency. So there's another currency which is emblems or tokens, which you can then use to buy gear, which is very, very easy. Again, quality of life way of getting your character geared up. And secondarily, you get the item drops as well. So regardless of what you're doing, you're always going to get that currency to get better items. They are restricted to certain items that you can get, but also you're going to get the random drops as well. And whilst you're doing that, you can wear the tabard of the reputation group that you want to grind, and you can just get your reputation up.
Bonus.
Yeah. So just to sort of like put that into like reputations used to take weeks, a month to get what you needed. So in the very, very first version in Classic, you would have reputation grinds for Zogorub, which was a catch-up troll raid. And it took a while because you could only do that on the lockouts from the dungeon. So you had the raid, in fact, and it wasn't like a walkover raid initially. So it was, you had to do this and you had to be successful every week. So it wasn't like an easy grind. But now the grind is entirely solo. You don't need to be in a raid group or anything like that. You just go into a dungeon, wear your tabard, get to the full. Or there is a ton of dailies you can also do, which just give you loads of gold. Gold means nothing nowadays as well. Getting gold is super quick, and everything that you make is very cheap. So like, I played my characters to get more gold, but that's only just to buy the big whale items that are, flexes more than anything else. It's.
So how are people feeling about it? Are they like?
I think people are bored.
Or
I think people are bored of Phase 1. So the other thing that I should mention as well, Phase 1 brought with it some new raids. It brought with it Naxxramas. Now, I've talked to you about Nax before, and the reason you know it is because it was the final raid from original World of Warcraft. And it was a 40-man raid. It was really, really hard, and it was special, And they basically brought it back. They've made a 25 and a 10-man version of it. They included, because they know that it was quite easy, they buffed up every one of the bosses, gave them more health. It is still a complete cakewalk walkover. It is pretty brain dead in there. So people are a little bit bored of Phase 1, and you can see that throughout the community, not just like in my guild as well. But Phase 2, as I said, is just around the corner in January, and it's bringing with it the latest, greatest, hardest raid called Ulduar, which is quite an interesting part of WoW lore. Which is the Titans. It's a prison for the old gods. So it's quite cool, and you do the questing and the storyline that you do in Northrend is great. It's a great story that you go through and you enjoy. There's so much to get through, and it hints at all of these things happening, and the lead up to Ulduar is quite interesting. So it'll be fun to get in there, and yeah, the bosses are legendarily bad. There is one who was never ever defeated pre-nerf.
Wow.
Yeah. So now that actually was refuted no more than probably 24 hours ago by a guild who were playing on the test realm, and they managed to, after 24 hours of constant gameplay, not constant, 24-hour man time accrued gameplay, they managed to defeat that boss.
Yeah.
So that sounds like it's going to be tough and a challenge. Whether we get it pre-nerf or not will be a completely different thing. But and that's Yogg-Saron, who is the old god in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there are some parallels here with Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet as well. Is because, as you kind of said, you're a Dad Plus guild, so you're not the people who eat, sleep, drink World of Warcraft.
No.
But you're probably more, you're probably like, what, 7 out of 10 on the Charlie scale?
Yeah.
It's really hard to accommodate all these different players, right? So due to a confluence of factors, I had a lot of available time to play Pokemon Scarlet, and so I'm 120 hours in.
Okay.
And I'm pretty much done with everything. I'll log in just to earn some currency, and no doubt when home compatibility comes along, I'll put my old guys through to get ribbons and marks or whatever. But obviously it's really difficult because that is that's, and again, I'm probably nowhere near as bad as people who've got hundreds more hours in. But how do you design a game for people who will guzzle the content as soon as it's there, versus people who perhaps have an opportunity to play WoW like once every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Or are not playing it twice a week, or are not in a guild, or not.
So I think the phases they gate it basically to allow people to level up, and in fact, they're doing this. It's actually quite cool. They're doing a Christmas XP bonus.
Yeah.
So you're getting 50% extra from everything. So level up another character, have fun, whilst you wait for the next expansion to come out, or the next phase to come out. The other thing is, like, as I sort of touched upon, all of the raids have 10 and 25 man versions.
Uh-huh.
The 10-man versions are generally easier just to sort of pug, spend an hour and a half with some random people, and you'll still be able to get through the content. I say that generally because you kind of really want to have people who've done it before, and things like that. So, but it is what it is. But they're going to do that for every raid as well going forward. So Uldar will have its 10-man version and its own gear. They're also, when Uldar comes out, they are going to put a new dungeon mode in, which is slightly harder, but it has all of the gear from Nax and the other quick raids in there. So it's easy for your character to come up and be on par with the other characters in the game.
Yeah.
So you can keep your character current, or characters, and alts, because I think one of the arguments that has sort of been placed in previous iterations of the game was alts very, very quickly lose validity or relevance, and you wouldn't play them because it takes too long to catch up and get gear. And the catch up raids despite them being called catch-up raids, people want to do them as quickly and efficiently as possible, which means that they don't want to take people in who are just trying to do the catch-up. Do you know what I mean? So it becomes a sort of, an elitist culture.
Yeah, they don't fulfill the purpose that they were designed for.
Yeah.
Because people want to run them quickly, but that's not what they're there for. I just find it interesting because generally speaking, of course, because the people who do put a lot of time or do have a lot of time to put into it or choose to put their time into these things over other things are obviously the people who are more passionate about it. Sometimes, particularly with the Pokemon discourse, it sounds like there's not necessarily being complaining, but what you've kind of qualified as like, here's what people are generally saying, is you tend to hear from those people who are really vested. I just can't help but think of people like, but what about the people who haven't even got the Pokemon games?
That is the other thing. Is like most people who are going to be playing this game are not 40-year-old guys. Yeah. They are going to be all the kids who are getting it at Christmas.
Yeah.
And the game isn't necessarily for us, the content guzzlers. But I mean, you know what? We have our Steam back catalogues to complain about, or whatever backloggery. Yeah. So we really don't have a leg to stand on in any of our arguments like that.
I think it's just putting it into perspective, because a lot of the things you were saying, and you were kind of positive about it, like these are all quality of life changes, but then what feels like it's missing is some of that.
Yeah, no, look,
some of that stuff that motivated the we really have to gear up for this, or okay, this is coming, this is going to kind of keep us fed for a while, right?
Yeah. Nobody, like, there were people in my guild who actively chose to make a character human because it's got a better reputation gain, and they were like, well, no, I really want to get my reputation in quickly. Oh my god, and like, and now they're like, I wish I'd rolled a different character because it took me seconds to get my reputations up, and so like there's that weird thing. Now, it's purely that there has become a point of it's phase. It's not burnout, but it's just like there's trouble finding things to do until the next phase comes along. I have to say though, the time that I have been playing it, what they have done and how they've changed some of the classes and how they work is amazing. Like jumping in and playing as the Death Knight, it's just been so much fun. I'm actually playing quite a niche version of the Death Knight as well. I'm not playing Unholy, which I said I was going to, but I'm playing Frost, which is not like a top DPSer or anything like that, but it's so much fun to have dual wielding, and I managed to get like most of my items very, very quickly, so I was able to perform really well quickly as well. So I've enjoyed that aspect, and also going back and playing my Warlock as well. Warlocks have just had so much love. Like, each one of the specs is super viable. So like Affliction, which used to be the sort of support class, was like, you're there to do this debuff that makes things everyone else better. So you're there to be the Affliction Warlock. It's now like one of the top performers on longer fights, because you've got all of these dots, damage over time effects, and they just build up and build up and build up until you're just a nuking machine. Demonology, which was a fairly good spec, now is really, really sought after. It's the top damage for quick damage as well, and it brings along a buff that every other caster loves. Basically, you just give them a whole bunch of spell power, and your role is to make that spell power as high as possible. So you're not only doing loads of damage, but you're also making everyone else do loads of damage. Such a cool thing. and you get to turn into a great big purple demon guy every 3 minutes. So everyone kind of likes that. And Destruction, which is sort of fallen behind the other ones, is now entirely geared towards fire, and it is really, really quick burst. It doesn't bring any utility, so people are like, boo, boo Destruction. But of course, it's now my favourite because it's like setting things on fire. But yeah, no, like, and it's not just those two classes. That's like the little sniff of the classes. So many other classes got so much love and so much changes, and rotations have become more complex, but not complex in a bad way. Complex as in engaging. Like, as a warlock, what I used to do in TBC was press Shadow Bolt over and over and over. Now you've got to mix it up, and you've got to it's just there's more buttons to press, and it makes it more fun. It
sounds like quite a bit of care and attention is
yes
gone into
but
basically paying attention to these kind of things, and
again, this is also a game from 15 years ago. This is the changes that they made, like however many years ago, and it's also where most people joined the game as well.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a term called Wrath Babies. So everybody who was a Wrath Baby and saw what Classic was, and they were like, "What the hell is this game? Like, there's no rotation and everything is so fucking hard." Like, so it just became a sort of an inverse, and the quality of life was awful as well. But for some reason, there's a charm there. But I think it's just, regardless of the quality of life and the attention and the attachment to new rotations and making that better and following these metas, there's nowhere to what's the word? There's no outlet for all of these things at the moment, because you can keep parsing, like seeing how you rank up against the rest of the people in the world at your spec, but there's also a kind of like, I want a new challenge of new mechanics, new content.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I think I might be in Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, so you're waiting for the next Isle of Armor.
Yeah, or home compatibility to come along, or as I'm sure we'll get particularly the other side of Christmas, these events that come up. So we had the Charizard 7-star raids, which was fun, so for that weekend, everyone who, because it came out really early, at the end of the first week of release, or week and a half of release, for the run up to that, everyone was coming up with strategy. Everyone, again, the guzzlers, the hardcore, if you like, was coming up with strategies. Okay, here's the best team to take in to quickly take down Charizard. It turned out not to be as hard as people were anticipating, but that's particularly because people were prepping. But yeah, other than that, and we've said it before, it's a bit like, you've unlocked the crazy character at the end of a Lego game, but there's nothing for you to do.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
All the missions are closed off because you've already done them. You don't need to do exploration because you've collected all the hidden this, that's, and the other. And so, you can have a bit of fun, kind of like roaming around or trouncing things. But like, okay, I've not got anything else. Yeah, waiting for something else to do. And there are, in all of these games, I think you kind of make your own. You can make your own challenges. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in Scarlet and Violet. And do you know what? Part of me is like, fine.
Yeah. How is, out of curiosity, how is endgame EV and IV training?
It's super easy. So it's I mean, all the it's not really changed.
I mean, I skipped it entirely in Sword and Shield.
Yeah, it's early on. I think when you're still blitzing all your cash on, getting one of all the held items, getting all your clothes, making sure you've got enough Pokeballs. Once you blow past that and you are just accruing money and money and money and money, then then if you want, you can do old school EV training and get your battle items, or you just go and blitz. Just spend whatever it is, $250,000 on your vitamins.
Vitamins, yeah.
And then within seconds, vitamins, mints, ability capsules, ability patches.
And can you switch for hidden abilities and things like that?
Yeah. Those at the moment, those are like the beginning of Sword and Shield. Those are really rare. So
okay.
I've only got, I think, maybe one or two from the heist. I think I got one in the Charizard 7-star raids, and maybe I've got another one from the other ones, from one of the other high-star challenge raids. And the scarcity seems to be around some of the sandwich ingredients, which give you super good effects.
Okay.
For
I still haven't made a sandwich.
Yeah, you don't need to. I got all the way through the game. I think I made like 2 sandwiches. But for if you're interested in things like shinies and marks and good IVs and stuff like that, and that's where all the sandwich stuff comes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all there. Breeding's super good in this one as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's I think it's the best it's ever been. In particular, it's not too much of a spoiler. They've made egg moves easier than ever.
Brilliant, fantastic.
So you can get an egg move on a Pokemon without breeding.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You basically free.
So less quality of life that now means you've got nothing to do at end game.
Yeah, exactly. Parallel. and I have guzzled through it, so I can't bemoan that. Yes, it has taken me 100 hours. It just happened to be that was really condensed because for one reason or another I had a lot of time on my hands. But yeah, now there's no and because it's an open world game, now there's like no reason to go to that part of the map anymore.
Yeah. I can totally see that as well.
Yeah.
The only thing is if you're just chasing a shiny. That is entirely it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're chasing a shiny, and then there are like outbreaks which change daily, which there's a tech for kind of getting better shinies and better IVs.
Yeah.
And there's dailies to do and checking all the raids.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like I was saying, it's fine to actually take some time away from that game. And much like you were saying, I think part of me, doesn't want to be in this situation. Oh, I have to play this game because otherwise I'm gonna fall behind, or I have to play this game because otherwise I'm gonna get spoiled, or I have to play this game because I'm gonna miss that. So, okay, now I can play it at much more, relaxed,
chill. Yeah.
Experimental, what about this? What about this build? What about this build?
One thing that I also noticed is flinching and paralysis.
Yeah.
Has the rate gone back up on them? Because they took it down, but I've noticed that flinching and paralysis is a lot more abundant. So I'm just wondering, because they've brought back Dunsparce, the Serene Grace terror that he once was, I'm just wondering if he's going to be viable.
I don't know if they specifically tweaked it, but it might have been because the whole Dynamax mechanic kind of got around some of that, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But then Terror Raids are still.
Yeah, I mean Terror Raids like this whole group mechanic. Like, I have genuinely started a Terra raid,
Yeah.
And then went and made tea, and come back and just to catch the Pokemon. I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, it's not even hard. Like, and I'm not talking about with other people. I'm talking about with the AI taking them down. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite forgiving. It does get harder the higher you get.
Yes, I imagine this Charizard one. Yeah.
Well, interestingly, that was easier to solo than to play with other people.
Oh right, okay. Because like there was lots of images of Charizard all surrounded by like Azumarils.
Yeah. For like, I took a bunch of screenshots. So, for Azumarill, 2 shiny, 2 non-shiny Azumarils. Sylveon got a lot of play.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was good because people had planned so well that it was made quite easy. But that's because people had actually invested in this kind of strategy.
And it's the guzzlers like yourself that are doing it.
Well, yeah, exactly. So we've got, it was trivial. Weirdly, I caught a shiny Marill, which
yeah, of course.
we had a Marill community day in Go recently. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll transfer it over. But then all of a sudden, Azumarill became the go-to Pokemon. So I was like, oh, well, we've got it in the box. Might as well. So I ran down to the whatever it is, the Chansey shop that sells the vitamins and stuff. Maxed out. So yeah, now I've got like a good EV, good IV, good nature, good moveset Azumarill, which I never would have had otherwise. I think.
I've got one.
Yeah, it's a great Pokemon. I mean,
yeah,
it was so funny because there was Azumarill and then another Pokemon which you might not have come across yet. Where like Belly Drum.
Oh, is that the tadpole one?
Were coming back, and it's like, wow, it feels like Gen 2 when Belly Drum was some sick tech.
Yeah.
Because in the Terror Raid specifically, you just want to max out your attack as quickly as possible, and then other people coming up with these insane ways of supporting that. So you have 3 characters do Belly Drum. There's another interesting tech with Berserker, because its hidden ability boosts the Steel type attacks of all your allies.
Oh, nice.
So and it stacks. So if you have 3 Berserkers and another Steel type, and they're all doing insane amounts of damage. So yeah, it's fun. It's really fun to see this 2 weekend experimentation when utterly niche Pokemon kind of got their 5 minutes of fame.
Brilliant.
To never be seen again.
Yeah. Banked for that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but everyone's got these boxed Pokemon for that one weekend. I mean, I'm sure Charizard will come back. So I'm kind of waiting for more events to come out. Obviously, the other side of Christmas, because they don't really do too much now.
Or over Christmas.
Yeah. Great.
Right. Okay. So I think we've talked to our readers for an hour and a half now about the games that we've been playing.
Yeah.
So let's bring it to an end. Farley, that guy's a maniac.
Whitey bye.